You don't change your life in a year. You don't even change your life in a month. You change your life in a day. And then you repeat it for 21 days. That's the secret most people miss. Success is not a miracle. It's not luck. It's not reserved for the gifted or the fortunate. Success is a process simple, predictable, and available to anyone willing to follow it with discipline. And today, I want to challenge you to a 21-day commitment. Not forever, not even for a year, just 21 days. Because 21 days can transform your habits, and your habits will transform your life. Now let's be honest, most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack consistency. They start strong, but they don't stay strong. They get excited, but they don't stay committed. So here's the idea. For the next 21 days, you become a different person. Not permanently, just long enough to prove something to yourself. That you can, day one begins with a decision, a serious decision, not a wish. Hope, a decision that says for the next 21 days, I will do what I said I would do. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a clear one. Wake up earlier. Read something valuable every day. Move your body. Write down your goals. Limit distractions. Speak positively. Take action every single day. Simple disciplines. But let me warn you, what's easy to do is also easy not to do. That's why most people don't change. By day 3, the excitement fades. By day 5, excuses begin to whisper. By day 7, you'll be tempted to quit. And that's where the transformation begins. Because success is not built on motivation, it's built on discipline. Anyone can feel motivated on day 1. Champions are made on day 7, when it's no longer exciting, but they keep going anyway. By day 10, something starts to shift. Your mind becomes stronger than your mood. You begin to take control instead of making excuses. You start to realize you're not the same person anymore. By day 14, confidence begins to grow, not from thinking, but from doing. You've kept promises to yourself for 2 weeks. That alone separates you from the majority. And by day 21, something powerful happens. You've built momentum. You've proven that change is possible. You've rewritten your identity. Now listen carefully, this is important. It's not the 21 days that change your life. It's who you become during those 21 days. A person who keeps their word. A person who acts despite feeling tired. A person who chooses growth over comfort. That person wins. So here's your challenge. For the next 21 days, no excuses. For the next 21 days, no negotiations with your comfort zone. For the next 21 days, you show up whether you feel like it or not. Because your future is not created by what you do occasionally, it's created by what you do daily. You don't need more time. You don't need more resources. You don't need more luck. You need better habits. And better habits begin with a decision followed by daily action. So start today, not next. Week, not tomorrow, today. Because if you can control your actions for 21 days, you can control your life forever. Make the commitment, stay the course, transform your life. The first step toward any meaningful change is understanding that transformation doesn't happen overnight. And it doesn't happen through grand, overwhelming efforts. Most people make the mistake of trying to overhaul their entire lives in a single moment, wanting to be completely different, completely successful, and completely disciplined all at once. That approach, while ambitious, is almost always doomed to fail because it underestimates the power of focus and the human mind's natural resistance to sudden change. The most effective way to build lasting success is to break it down into manageable, practical steps. This is where the idea of a 21-day commitment becomes so powerful. A short-term focus like a 21-day plan works because it makes transformation seem achievable. Instead of being paralyzed by the enormity of a lifetime goal, you narrow your attention to what can be done consistently for just 3 weeks. 3 weeks is not a lifetime, it's not forever, and it's not intimidating. Yet, it's long enough to plant the seeds of new habits and to start rewiring your mindset. By committing fully to a limited time frame, the mind and body are forced into a rhythm of consistency. Each day becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are capable of following through, that you are capable of change. Small victories compound quickly in this focused window, creating a sense of momentum that carries forward even after the 21 days are complete. The beauty of a 21-day framework is that it taps into the psychology of habit formation. Neuroscience and behavioral studies suggest that it takes approximately 3 weeks for a new behavior to start feeling automatic. While true mastery may take months or years, the initial 21 days are critical because they break down resistance. During this time, you are training your mind to see the desired behavior not as an option, but as a standard part of your daily life. You begin to recognize that your future success is not an abstract concept, it is something you can control by controlling your actions today. Many people underestimate the power of daily repetition. They believe that grand gestures or extraordinary efforts will lead to transformation, when in fact transformation is almost always the result of repeated, seemingly small actions over time. Waking up early, writing down your goals, reading for 30 minutes, or choosing to act when you don't feel like it, these are not glamorous activities. But their cumulative effect is extraordinary. By focusing on just 21 days, you give yourself a clear timeline to practice these small actions consistently. You remove the excuses and the endless procrastination that comes from thinking about forever change. Suddenly, improvement is tangible because it is immediate, measurable, and manageable. Another important aspect of this approach is the psychological boost it provides. When you commit to a defined period, you are creating a challenge that feels both serious and attainable. The mind responds to defined challenges with heightened focus and energy. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by a vague idea of "I need to change my life," the brain can concentrate on specific actions day by day. Each day completed reinforces your self-confidence and your sense of capability. You start to see that you are not powerless in the face of your habits or circumstances. You are fully capable of shaping your own trajectory, one day at a time. This short-term commitment also teaches the critical lesson of accountability. When you promise yourself to stick to a plan for 21 days, you are making a pact with yourself that requires integrity. Each day presents a choice to honor your commitment or to give in to distraction and comfort. By consistently choosing to honor the commitment even. In small ways, you develop self-trust, the foundation of any long-term success. You learn that change does not require perfection, it requires persistence. And persistence, when practiced consistently, creates results that are impossible to ignore. Finally, the 21-day focus emphasizes the power of starting small but thinking long-term. It is not about waiting for a perfect moment or for motivation to appear magically. It is about taking immediate action, no matter how small, and trusting that these small steps, when performed consistently, accumulate into major life shifts. The 21-day framework is more than a plan, it is a mindset. It is a strategy for overcoming procrastination, for breaking the cycle of inconsistency, and for demonstrating to yourself that real change is not only possible, it is inevitable when approached with focus, clarity, and commitment. By committing fully to just 21 days, you create a foundation upon which bigger and bolder changes can be built. You learn the power of focus, the value of repetition, and the undeniable truth that transformation starts when you decide to take action and stick with it no matter what. In these 3 weeks, you are not merely performing tasks, you are proving to yourself that your life can be different and that proof is the first step toward lasting success. Discipline is the cornerstone of every great achievement, yet it is a quality that most people underestimate. Many believe that success comes from motivation, from feeling inspired, or from waiting for the right circumstances to appear. But motivation is fleeting, it comes and goes like the wind. It is a spark that can ignite action, but it cannot sustain it. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady. It does not depend on mood, it does not depend on circumstance, and it does not wait for perfect conditions. Discipline is the bridge between intention and results, and without it, even the clearest vision will never become reality. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is rarely talent or luck. It is their ability to follow through consistently. Discipline is not about doing extraordinary things, it is about doing the necessary things, day after day, even when you do not feel like it. It is showing up, putting in the work, and honoring your commitments regardless of how difficult or inconvenient they may seem. It is the quiet, consistent action that compounds over time into extraordinary results. While others wait for motivation to arrive, the disciplined person acts anyway, and it is this consistent action that separates the successful from the average. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a single day and underestimate what they can achieve over time. Discipline allows you to harness the power of small, repeated actions to create monumental results. Each disciplined choice, no matter how insignificant it may seem in the moment, contributes to a larger pattern of success. Waking up early to exercise, reading for 30 minutes each day, completing a task you have been avoiding, these are not glamorous acts. They are ordinary actions that, when done consistently, compound into extraordinary achievements. The disciplined person understands that success is not instantaneous, it is built quietly, one choice at a time, and the sum of those choices is unstoppable. One of the most challenging aspects of discipline is resisting the temptation to give in to comfort. The human mind is naturally inclined to seek ease, to avoid discomfort, and to procrastinate. This is why most people fail. They act when it is convenient, when they feel like it, and when life is easy. Discipline teaches you to act even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is inconvenient, and even when no one is watching. It is the ability to stick to a plan, to honor your goals, and to persevere despite resistance. This resistance is not a sign that you are failing. It is a signal that you are growing. Each time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your character and move closer to your goals. Discipline also creates freedom. At first, it may feel restrictive, as though you are binding yourself to a strict set of rules or habits. But in reality, discipline liberates you from the chaos of indecision, the anxiety of procrastination, and the uncertainty of wasted potential. When you commit to disciplined action, you take control of your life. You no longer leave your future to chance or to fleeting moods. Instead, you design your destiny with intention. The disciplined person does not wait for circumstances to change, they change themselves. And in doing so, they influence the world around them. Another critical aspect of discipline is its ability to build self-trust. When you repeatedly follow through on your commitments, you prove to yourself that you can be relied upon. This trust becomes the foundation for greater challenges. Once you know you can keep your word to yourself, you begin to take on larger goals, knowing that your consistency will carry you through. Discipline is not about perfection, it is about persistence. It is about showing up, learning from setbacks, and continuing to move forward with unwavering determination. True discipline requires clarity of purpose. It is not blind obedience or rigid adherence to arbitrary rules. It is intentional action aligned with your values, goals, and vision for the future. Discipline is easier when you understand why you are doing what you are doing. When your actions are purposeful, when each step has meaning, you are more likely to persist through difficulty. You begin to see every challenge, every obstacle, and every moment of resistance as an opportunity to reinforce your character and strengthen your commitment. Ultimately, discipline is the engine of transformation. Motivation may spark action for a day, a week, or even a month, but discipline sustains growth over a lifetime. It is the quiet force that turns small, repeated actions into extraordinary results, that transforms potential into achievement, and that molds ordinary individuals into leaders, innovators, and creators. The person who masters discipline learns the most valuable lesson of all. That success is not a matter of luck, talent, or circumstance. It is a matter of choice. Every day, every hour, every moment, you choose discipline, and in doing so, you choose your future. When you embrace discipline, you no longer rely on motivation. You become self-reliant, consistent, and unstoppable. You understand that your actions, not your feelings, determine your destiny. And once you internalize this principle, every goal, every dream, and every aspiration becomes attainable, because you have discovered the timeless secret of achievement. It is not magic, it is discipline. Success is rarely an event, it is a process. It is the result of small, consistent actions repeated over time until they become ingrained in your very identity. This is the essence of habit formation, and it is one of the most powerful tools you have to transform your life. Most people misunderstand habits. They think habits are trivial routines, insignificant details of daily life that do not matter. But habits are the invisible architecture of your destiny. They dictate the direction of your life, shaping your results, your character, and ultimately your future. Mastering your habits is the key to unlocking consistent success. The process of forming a habit begins with repetition. The first day you commit to a new action, it feels foreign. Your mind resists it, your body resists it, and your emotions resist it. This resistance is natural. It is the human instinct to protect comfort and avoid change. But each time you overcome that resistance, you are rewiring your brain and strengthening your ability to act despite discomfort. By repeating the behavior day after day, you begin to create a neurological pattern loop in which the action becomes automatic. What was once difficult and unnatural eventually becomes effortless and natural. This is the essence of habit formation. Habits are powerful because they operate silently in the background of your life. Most people do not realize how much of their day is governed by unconscious routines, habits that either propel them forward or hold them back. When you intentionally shake your habits, you take control of this hidden driver of success. You decide what your day looks like, how you respond to challenges, and how much progress you make toward your goals. Positive habits compound just like investments. Each day of disciplined action builds on the previous day, creating momentum that becomes unstoppable over time. One small, consistent habit may seem insignificant, but its cumulative effect is transformative. The 21-day framework is particularly effective because it provides a clear window for habit formation. While true mastery of a habit may take longer, 21 days is enough to establish the neural pathways that make the behavior easier and more natural. It is long enough to break through initial resistance and short enough to feel achievable. By committing to a 21-day practice, you give yourself permission to focus, to build momentum, and to prove to yourself that consistent action produces results. You learn that habits are not restrictive, they are liberating. They allow you to automate excellence, freeing your mind from daily indecision and enabling you to focus on higher level goals. Building habits requires more than repetition, it requires intention. It is not enough to go through the motions or perform actions mechanically. Each habit must be chosen deliberately, aligned with your vision for your life. Habits without purpose are like a rudderless ship. They will move you somewhere, but not necessarily where you want to go. The most effective habits are those that reinforce your values, strengthen your character, and move you steadily toward your goals. Reading for knowledge, exercising for health, journaling for clarity, and taking daily steps toward your objectives are examples of habits that compound into long-term success. One of the most profound lessons of habit formation is the connection between identity and action. You do not merely adopt habits, habits transform who you are. Each repeated action shapes your self-perception. When you consistently choose to act with discipline, you begin to see yourself as disciplined. When you consistently choose growth over comfort, you see yourself as someone capable of progress. Over time, your habits define your identity, and your identity defines your outcomes. The person you become through your habits is the person who achieves the results you desire. Another crucial aspect of habit formation is the power of consistency over intensity. Many people believe that change requires extraordinary effort, dramatic leaps, or overwhelming willpower. In reality, lasting transformation is built on steady, small actions taken consistently. Missing a day is not catastrophic, giving up entirely is. Success comes to those who persist, not to those who perform sporadically. By focusing on consistency and repetition, you create a rhythm that carries you forward, even when motivation fades or challenges arise. The 21-day framework reinforces this principle, giving you a defined period to practice unwavering consistency. Habits also serve as anchors during difficult times. Life is unpredictable, and motivation alone is rarely sufficient to navigate challenges. Habits provide structure, stability, and guidance when circumstances are chaotic. They allow you to act without hesitation, to maintain focus, and to continue progressing even when external conditions are unfavorable. This reliability is the essence of success, the ability to produce results regardless of temporary feelings or external obstacles. Ultimately, mastering habits is about taking control of your life one action at a time. Every choice, every repetition, every day builds a foundation that compounds into extraordinary outcomes. By intentionally cultivating positive habits, you align your daily life with your long-term goals, transform your identity, and create unstoppable momentum. The 21-day framework is not merely a challenge, it is an initiation into the power of disciplined, repeated action. It teaches that success is not achieved in a moment of inspiration, but in the quiet, consistent actions that form the bedrock of a transformed life. True transformation is not measured solely by the actions we take or the goals we achieve. It is measured by the person we become in the process. Most people focus on results. They want more money, more recognition, more success, but they neglect the fundamental truth. Lasting achievement is the natural outcome of an evolved identity. The 21-day success framework is not just about completing tasks or forming habits. It is about becoming the kind of person who consistently takes action, overcomes obstacles, and produces results. Transformation begins on the inside, and identity is the engine that drives sustainable change. Every action you take sends a message to yourself about who you are. When you follow through on a commitment, even when it is difficult, you are telling yourself, I am reliable, I am disciplined, I am capable. When you repeat this consistently, your self-perception shifts. Habits shape identity, and identity shapes outcomes. By committing to a 21-day plan of purposeful action, you are not just practicing new behaviors, you are signaling to your mind and body that you are a person who keeps promises, faces challenges, and refuses to settle for mediocrity. This subtle but powerful shift in identity is the real transformation, and it extends far beyond the 3 weeks of structured effort. Consistency is the bridge between current identity and desired identity. The human mind is naturally resistant to change, and old habits are deeply ingrained. The key to overcoming this resistance is not to attempt massive overnight changes, but to consistently act in ways that align with the person you want to become. Each day of intentional action strengthens this alignment. When you consistently choose growth, learning, and disciplined effort, your identity gradually reshapes itself. You begin to see challenges as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and effort as a natural part of who you are. By the end of 21 days, you are no longer the person who hesitated or procrastinated. You are the person who acts, who persists, and who takes control of their destiny. Another critical aspect of identity transformation is the internalization of responsibility. Success is never about blaming circumstances or waiting for external factors to change. It is about taking full ownership of your actions and outcomes. By committing to a structured plan for 21 days, you practice taking responsibility for your own growth. Each completed task, each disciplined choice, reinforces the belief that you are in charge of your life. This mindset becomes a cornerstone of your identity, empowering you to make choices that consistently align with your long-term goals. You learn to rely on yourself first, understanding that true power comes from self-mastery, not from external validation or luck. Identity transformation also fosters resilience. As you engage in consistent, intentional action, you inevitably encounter obstacles, distractions, and moments of doubt. Each time you choose to persist, to continue despite difficulty, and to honor your commitment, you strengthen your resilience. Resilience becomes an intrinsic part of who you are. You are no longer defined by temporary feelings, setbacks, or failures. You are defined by your ability to rise, to adjust, and to continue moving forward. Over time, this resilience becomes a natural expression of your identity, equipping you to handle challenges that would have once derailed your progress. A transformed identity also changes your perception of possibilities. When you act as the person you want to become, your mind begins to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You no longer feel limited by fear, doubt, or circumstance. Your habits, your discipline, and your consistent effort reinforce the belief that you are capable of achieving more than you ever imagined. This shift is powerful because it creates a self-reinforcing cycle. The more you act in alignment with your desired identity, the more confident and capable you feel, and the more ambitious your goals become. The 21-day framework is particularly effective because it provides a concrete period to establish these identity-shaping behaviors. It is long enough to break old patterns and create new neural pathways, yet short enough to feel manageable. By the end of 3 weeks, you have not only practiced new actions, you have begun to internalize them, allowing your behavior to naturally reflect the new person you are becoming. This is the essence of lasting transformation. It is not simply doing things differently, but being different at a fundamental level. Ultimately, identity transformation is the foundation for all sustained success. Goals can be achieved and habits can be formed, but unless your identity evolves to match the person capable of maintaining those results, the change is temporary. When you focus on becoming the kind of person who acts with discipline, persistence, and purpose, you create a life that naturally aligns with your highest aspirations. The 21-day commitment is more than a plan. It is a catalyst for growth, a proving ground for your character, and a launch pad for a future defined by consistent achievement and lasting fulfillment. By the end of the 21 days, you are no longer the person who dreamed of success. You are the person who embodies it. And that is the ultimate transformation. A life changed not just by what you do, but by who you have become. Conclusion: lasting transformation is not achieved simply by setting goals or performing actions. It is achieved by becoming the kind of person whose daily choices naturally lead to success. The 21-day framework provides more than a plan. It offers a structured path to reshape your habits, strengthen your discipline, and solidify your identity. By committing to consistent, purposeful action, you prove to yourself that change is possible, resilience is attainable, and growth is inevitable. When your habits, your discipline, and your mindset align, you don't just reach your goals, you embody them. True success comes not from what you accomplish in the short term, but from the person you become along the journey. The transformation begins within, and once your identity shifts, everything else follows.